great afternoon to you, although it's good morning, right? You're an LA lifer.
I'm in LA, yes, it's still morning.
Okay. So where is the coffee cup? Because you are a professional coffee drinker.
Right here.
Okay. So what goes in that coffee cup as a professional coffee drinker?
I apologize. I apologize for my dog. It's just coffee and coffee creamer, but it's almond milk creamer. No dairy.
No dairy. So on the Papa's House set, how's the coffee rank?
I have a Nespresso machine in my dressing room, so I make my own coffee.
That sounds like an experienced person that's, just been on national tours.
I just sometimes I will say though, our crafty truck, they make great coffee. I know that how I like my coffee, so I just make it the way I like it.
Fair. Well, Papa's House, that's why people are talking about you. I mean, you've worked steadily, but being on a network sitcom that gets all the billboards and the promotion, they mention it during NFL games and all that, mainstream as it gets in a great way. But how long was it from auditioning to the pilot?
So it was fairly quick from audition to pilot. I had a straight to producer audition on Zoom, and then I want to say a few weeks later, I found out that I was testing, and we did an in-person test, and then it wasn't long from the test to shooting the pilot. I think maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but we shot the pilot, and after the pilot it was a very long time because then the strike happened. So we got picked up during the strike, and we kind of just had to sit and wait for about a year, over a year, before we could film the pilot or
Wow.
the second episode.
And then how long did you have to keep all of that a secret for?
Luckily, I didn't have to keep it a secret for long because we had already announced that, that we were filming the pilot. They had already announced who got cast in the pilot and everything. So I didn't have to keep anything quiet because they announced it fairly quick. So
Mhm.
I got very lucky in that sense. It would have been very difficult to keep everything quiet for a year.
Yeah, you're finding out that that's the norm these days. So luckily you didn't have to deal with that. But
Yeah.
did you know Damon Sr. or Jr. at all before landing the role?
No, I knew nobody on our show. I had auditioned for Cameron Tarlow, who him and Damon Jr. have a production company, and I had auditioned for one of their shows a year prior, and that's what kind of helped me transition into this project because they remembered me from that project. But I had never met them in person. I had only met Cameron um, on um, on Zoom, but uh, but yeah, I just the first time I met them was at the test actually.
Right.
Yeah,
So I'm glad to hear that it was an easy process in terms of you knew somebody from a prior audition. The pilot was quick, it was announced. So you didn't have to harbor the secret, although you did have to wait a long time with all that. But one
yeah.
thing I'm curious about with your skills and your training, did your success within the figure skating world in any way lead to this role?
No, which is funny because coming up there is, I can only I'm not going to spoil anything, but they do hint at my ice skating in one of the episodes. But no, it had nothing, none of my skating helped me out. The only thing I will say, training as a figure skater, it's a takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
So that has helped me a lot as an actress because it's helped me stay focused and disciplined, and just like I'm a normal person, so I have days where I'm tired or don't feel like doing something, but my discipline in skating has helped me, it has pushed me in acting where it's like, I may not necessarily feel like doing something, but I know I need to, so I push myself to do it.
I find to generalize, it's the figure skaters and the swimmers, the people who had to do that 2 to 3 hours before school every day that
Yeah.
have that discipline forever.
Yep, that was my life. Wake up in the morning. I used to wake up at like 4:30 and go skating at 5:30. Quickly change, go to school, come home, do homework, and then go train again after school Sundays.
When you were involved in all that discipline-oriented living, were you thinking of becoming an actress, or is that an organic transition?
I knew since I was a kid that entertainment was where I wanted to live. My dad is a jazz musician, so I grew up going to a lot of his gigs and sitting backstage and watching him play. And my aunt is a flamenco dancer, so I grew up dancing with her. So I always kind of had it in my blood. Um, there was a little bit of a windy road getting to acting, but I always knew since I was a kid that I I this is where I wanted to end up. But I went from figure skating to dance to music to and I enjoyed all of it, but there was always something that drew me to acting.
In terms of your dad's jazz career, I didn't
Mhm.
know that. Which sorts of venues did he play? Was it the baked potato kind of snobby jazz scene, or is it more blue notes and festivals?
So he actually played with a lot of big artists. He's toured with Ray Charles. He played with Aretha Franklin, The Temptations, Earth, Wind, and Fire. So these were all people as
What?
a kid. Yeah, these are all people that as a kid I was sitting there and watching. And of course, as a kid, I don't really know who, it's not exciting or big for me. As a 7-year old, I'm kind of just like, I want to go play. I don't want to be here.
Right.
But as an adult now, I appreciate it so much and being able to see these amazing artists backstage and watch them from the wings and watch them perform and watch the audience interaction and how much they enjoy it. And I think it was a lot of those moments that kind of also made me realize that entertainment is what I want to do. I want to be able to touch someone with my art.
The creds that you just mentioned, Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin, two of the best stars of all time. But you then said Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was probably the best concert I've seen this year, which means your father had to dance while playing and wear gold lame while playing.
No, so he didn't, he was more so in the band in the background, or he did I know he's on their album as well. So
Oh,
he's done live shows, he's done, studio gigs. He's done it all. But I credit a lot of my passion for art to
well,
him.
where I was going with that with the gold lames, his outfits may have been more flamboyant than yours as a figure skater had he been in the touring band.
Possibly. I don't know. I have to ask him. I have to ask him to pull up some pictures from his past.
Yeah, well, hey, back to you and Papa's house. Are you going to try and do film roles and other appearances outside of it, or do you go, hey, network gig, I'm going to sit back?
You know what? I absolutely would love to do other things. I love the project. I love Papa's House. I'm so excited to be on this show, and it's everything I could have possibly asked for. But I also love my craft, and I love being able to portray different characters and step into those roles and bring them to life. So it's very fun for me.
Hmm.
And I don't really know how to sit still. I get that from my mom. My mom doesn't know how to sit still. And so now I'm like that. And even when I have downtime, I'm kind of just like, all right, well, what do I do now?
That's not from the figure skating where you're hyperactive in terms of having to memorize and do conditioning and forget the fact that you're freezing at the same time.
That could possibly contribute to it as well, but I think it's just because I grew up with a single mom who just was constantly on the go and between, taking me to practice or to school or to this, to that, to my friends, and also just, watching her take care of the household, watching her go to work. And so I grew up, a lot of my drive comes from my mother.
Got it. Well, down to the last two questions before I let you go. The First one is this is more of a traditional sitcom,
Mhm.
Papa's House, but your credits also have the stuff that you did for Peacock, little different, of course, because that was more of Christmas.
Yeah.
And Save Me from Love, Stolen from Suburbia, Severed Road, very different kinds of things. Long
Yes.
term, do you hope to stick with more comedy?
I hope to stick with what allows me to do my craft. Honestly, I enjoy doing all of it. I love doing film, TV, um, drama, comedy. Comedy is by far the most challenging of all
Oh,
of them for me because, it's not there, it's very technical. You have to, the timing, the delivery, just making sure you're standing in the right spot. There's so many different little minor things that go into comedy. So I think being on this project has taught me a lot, and also just being around legends and icons, the Wayans family, Essence Atkins, Jeffrey Owens, Wendy Raquel Robinson, all these people just have taught me so much. And I feel like I've learned so much as an actress. But I do hope to continue to pursue my craft and do my craft, and whether it be a feature film or TV or a limited series, I would enjoy any of it.
got it. And last question, because music came up. What's the last concert that you went to for fun?
Oh, that is a very, very, I recently went to, oh my God, I can't even remember, for fun.
As
I
opposed to a family member saying you have to be here.
okay, so recently I went to I think they're called Kurungbin. I don't remember their name, but that
Yeah,
was because
KH. Yeah, yeah.
I did not, that wasn't my choice, although they're great, but it was just more so, someone wanted to go and I went with them. But uh, for myself, I did not go. I wish I could have gone, but had my schedule allowed it, I probably would have been at the Shabuzi concert last month.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is taste all over the place.
Yeah, I'm just very, I go from jazz to country to pop to, I love, I mean, music is beautiful. So
Well said. Well, thank you for your time and looking forward to what's to come. And to clarify, the best way to find out about what's to come is the gram. Follow you
the
on
gram.
Instagram.
The gram is the best way to find out.
Well, thank you for your time and really looking forward to what's to come. Whether you're figure skating, you're doing the comedy, you're doing the horror, whatever it is.
Thank you so much.
Paltrocast.